Oh, so I run external hard drives, external solid state drives all the time. I do almost all my editing from external solid state drives, primarily because I'm on a Mac. So external hard drives are kind of the best budget way to do it. But it's also because I move between computers a lot. So I could be on this computer here, I could be on that computer back there, I could be on a laptop that I take to work with me, etc., etc. So having externals very, very important. But one of the things that I find is if you are using an external solid state drive, they heat up. And when they heat up, of course, um, two things can happen. Number one is that they can slow down. So, for instance, like solid state drives that you would get from like SanDisk or Samsung or anything like that, they have really been trying to make them smaller, which is great. But the downside of that, of course, is that as they get smaller, they don't have as much heat dissipation. So they end up getting hotter. And that can, for one, again, slow the drive down, but two, cause the drive to fail as it gets older and continues to run hot. So I figured, what would be a good way to cool this down? So I went online and I found this. I'm going to see how well it works, but not expensive. You're looking at Canadian, I don't know, 25 bucks, 30 bucks. I'll put the price up here, just so you guys know it. This is it. This is the box. Eluting again, create and resolve. But yeah, it's basically a little fan, something that I figured I could put on the desk beside my computer and literally just lay the solid state drives on it. So they're constantly sitting on a fan. So this is it. And it's much bigger than I thought. And because I'm going to use it, I usually have 3 solid state drives plugged in all the time. One is a drive that I'm working on. One is like a backup of the actual project files that I currently have, and then the third one is a backup of the backup. Yeah, because I'm always a little scared that the backup's gonna fail. Anyways, this I'm pretty sure is designed to go in, like possibly like in an actual uh computer. It kind of looks that way, but for me, that's not how it's going to work. I'm going to literally just set it up here on the desk, again, beside my Mac Studio there, which is where I'll do most of the work. It does come with these little like mounting screws. Not a concern for me. As you can see, USB powered. So my guess is it should be designed to be external. You could set it up like to use for like an Xbox or PlayStation or something like that to help cool it as well. Or a tower maybe that wasn't getting enough cooling. You could kind of put this in the side, just to give it some more cooling. But let's just see how much wind this thing produces. I gotta find a battery. One sec. All right, so I got just a standard battery here. 10,000 milliamp hour. Nothing fancy, just a battery. And should be able to just plug this straight in to it, would be my guess. And this has a off, low, medium, and high switch right here. So low, right? So for me, again, I would put the 3 drives right across this, which I think would work really good. Then, so that puts out not bad, actually. Actually, it's surprising because, if you look at those laptop cooling fans, this already puts out more wind at low than any of them that I've ever tried. Yeah, it's not like blow your hair back kind of cooling, but I think that's going to work really well. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to take one of my drives that I know has let's say an overheating issue a bit, that it really slows down when it gets warm. I'm going to lay it on here and I'm going to run like a speed test software on it, but I'm going to put it on loop. So it just constantly does it. And I'm going to let it run for like an hour without the cooling. And then I'm going to run it for an hour with the cooling, just to see if there's any kind of difference in the actual speed results over that amount of time. So I'm going to do that and come back with the results for you guys. Yeah. All right. So we've had a chance to let the drive run twice. The first time we let it run for about an hour with the fans on, and the speed that it started at was about 1300 for writes, and reads, I think, were around the 700. And it just stayed there. It stayed there for the whole hour. It may fluctuate up and down a little bit, but for the most part, it just kept going with that speed, which was fantastic. Plus, to touch, if you actually went and touched the actual little drive, it never really felt warm. Now, when I turned the fan off and let it run for an hour, for about the first 20 minutes to half hour, it actually wasn't too bad. But then it started really fluctuating with its speeds. So you could actually see the speeds again, kind of hover around 1300, 1200. And then you could tell the drive was getting warm and that speed would slowly start to creep down. It crept down quite a bit. Every once in a while, it would creep down to under 100. And then it would run really slow. And then you almost felt like the drive was trying to cool itself down a little bit naturally by not running as hard. And then it would kind of creep itself back up again and get up to around 1,000, 1,100 for writes, and then slowly just kind of come back down again. So this is something that, for one, again, can cause a loss of longevity to your drive when it heats up like that. But for me, something that's just as important, well, losing files would be bad for sure, but is that, you could be starting a project that you're writing back and forth to the drive, and it starts off nice and fast, and then halfway through the project, it's at a crawl, right? Because the drive is just constantly writing and it's rendering files and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, something that would take 30 seconds to normally render or get prepared, or just be able to read the files fast enough for doing video editing so that you can actually do everything, in real time, all of a sudden it can't do that anymore. And that becomes an issue. So being able to have a fan on it constantly to keep its temperature down, again, better chance that you won't lose any files, better chance that the drive won't fail completely, and it's just going to run at its optimum speed much longer. Again, with the fan, I ran it for at least an hour. With the non-fan, it was under an hour, and I was like, yeah, no, she's already having issues. So for me, that, I think it's like $20, $30, something like that for the fan. Worthwhile. Again, I just had her right now sitting right beside. It doesn't look pretty by any means, but it functions. And for me, that's really what matters. And I think for me, it's going to be a great addition. And if you're having issues possibly with drives that are running hot, and you're someone that just wants to make sure that they last longer and they perform better, then something like a fan like this may be something that you may want to invest in. All right, guys, I'll leave links to the one that I bought, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Later.